Once upon a time, she was America's sweetheart, the stunning, shy, and irresistibly charming Laurie Partridge from the Partridge Family. Every teenager wanted to be her, every boy had her poster on the wall, and every network dreamed of her next big role. But what happened to the woman who once had the world at her feet? Today, Susan Dey is 72 years old, and her journey will touch your heart in ways you never expected. It all began in the early 1970s when a 17-year-old girl with no acting experience walked into an audition that would change her life. Susan had been working as a model, uncertain of what she wanted, yet the moment the cameras rolled, something magical happened. She brought Laurie Partridge to life with wide green eyes, quiet grace, and an innocence that made audiences fall instantly in love. By 18, she was one of the most recognizable young stars in America. She smiled from magazine covers, sang on set, and became the face of teen perfection. But behind that glowing image was a young woman learning that fame can be a very lonely place. The pressure was endless. Look thinner, look prettier, never age, never rest. She began to battle insecurities and body image struggles that she kept carefully hidden from the cameras. Behind closed doors, she fought an eating disorder, a quiet war she would wage for years, while the world believed she was living a dream. And like so many stories in Hollywood, there was heartbreak woven into the glitter. Susan's heart belonged to her co-star, the beloved teen idol David Cassidy. She admired him deeply, hoping their friendship would turn into something more. But it never did. David didn't share her feelings, and the rejection left her devastated. What hurt even more was when he later spoke publicly about their brief connection, turning something private into a headline. For Susan, that betrayal cut too deep, and from that day on, she never spoke to him again. While tabloids speculated, she kept silent, choosing dignity over drama. But inside, another piece of her innocence was gone. Still, Susan Dey refused to be defeated. She stepped away for a while, rebuilt her strength, and came back with fire in her heart. In the 1980s, she stunned Hollywood once again, this time not as a teen idol, but as a powerhouse actress. Her role as Grace Van Owen in L.A. Law earned her a Golden Globe and the respect of critics who once doubted her. She had proven she was more than a pretty face. She was talent, grit, and grace combined. For a time, it seemed she had it all: success, beauty, admiration. Yet deep down, the constant scrutiny of Hollywood still gnawed at her peace. The fame that once felt like magic had become a cage built from flashing cameras and whispered gossip. Then quietly, she vanished. No more red carpets, no interviews, no desperate grasp at attention. Fans began to ask, where did Susan Dey go? The answer was simple but powerful. She walked away. She chose her sanity over spotlight, her privacy over applause. In a town where almost everyone fights to stay seen, Susan Dey made the bravest choice of all. She chose to disappear. She moved away from Hollywood, devoted herself to family life, and learned to breathe again. Away from scripts and schedules, she finally found what fame had stolen from her: peace. Today, at 72, Susan Dey lives quietly, far from the noise of celebrity. She avoids social media, rarely grants interviews, and seems genuinely content. Friends say she still has that same warmth in her smile, that same spark that once lit every television screen in America. When fans catch a rare glimpse of her now, it's hard not to feel emotional. The girl who once carried the weight of the world's expectations has aged with a rare dignity. No scandals, no spectacle, just calm acceptance of life's passage. She has endured heartbreak, battled self-doubt, and walked away from an industry that seldom forgives anyone for growing older. Yet she looks peaceful, almost luminous, as though the silence itself has healed her. When we think of the Partridge Family, most of us remember that catchy tune, "Come On, Get Happy." But beneath that cheerful chorus lies a deeper truth. Behind the laughter and the bright costumes was a young woman learning painful lessons about love, fame, and self-worth. Susan Dey's story is not just about a television star. It's about every person who's ever lost themselves trying to please the world. And when you see her now, it's almost impossible not to tear up, because you realize that happiness was never in the spotlight. It was waiting for her in the quiet corners of a simple life. At 72, she stands as proof that it's never too late to choose peace, to heal, and to live on your own terms. So the next time you hear that familiar tune, remember Susan Day, the girl who smiled for the world even when she was hurting, the woman who conquered Hollywood and then courageously walked away. Her life reminds us that sometimes the greatest strength isn't in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. Try not to cry when you see her today, not out of sadness, but out of respect for the beautiful resilience of a woman who finally found happiness by simply choosing herself.